The moon has sat above the Earth for billions of years. Ever since man was able to dream, we've looked up and imagined walking on its surface and seeing the Earth rise on a cold morning. A trip to the moon is more possible today than ever before and would only cost you about $100 million. For those of us who don't have that kind of cash lying around, there is an alternative.
The lunar surface is quite different from what we have here in Idaho.
Idaho is a bit closer than the 384,000-kilometer trip to the Sea of Tranquility, and though the characteristics are most definitely different, if it's a lunar landscape you're after, Craters of the Moon, just north of the Snake River, is a pretty good substitute.
It got its name because of its resemblance to the lunar surface. The Apollo astronauts actually came out here in 1969 and explored the area prior to going to the real moon. This is an amazing place. You can easily see it on satellite photos. It's a huge area of lava, covers about 500,000 acres. We've got every kind of volcanic feature you can imagine here. It really is a volcanic wonderland, and it's a really fun and active place for families to visit. There's so much to see and do. Where else can you climb several volcanic peaks all in an afternoon? Climb beneath the earth and explore lava tube caves.
2,000 years ago, Craters of the Moon was a very different place. Much like the lava fields of Hawaii today, the land still glowed red with the Earth's inner heat, with magma forcing its way to the surface along a massive rift and flowing south to the Snake River. In 1924, the now dormant lava beds became one of the very first national preserves, and today, the rocks and caves along Highway 93 between Twin and Idaho Falls can be explored from high and low, depending on which way you turn.
The entire monument is actually quite huge. It's about 750,000 acres. If you have any interest at all in volcanoes, this is the place. We have a very nice little campground that's right in the middle of the lava flow. During the summer, we have ranger-guided activities, walks and talks throughout the summer.
I'm going to do a little experiment. I just brought a little bit of tap water with me. I'm just going to add it to the floor here in a couple places and give it a moment or two to go to work, and we'll see what happens. And that little bit of water that we've added to the floor is probably not going to see daylight again for another 150 to 200 years. It's going to sink down into an aquifer, an underground lake that sits beneath southern Idaho and holds about as much water as Lake Erie in the Great Lakes region.
Unlike any landscape on the moon, life actually finds a way to survive here on this volcanic, pocked world. Even in a dry, arid climate like this, ferns find warm and humid crevices next to thermal vents, and flowers bloom in early summer in surprising colors. Moonwalks lead from groomed paths into dark crevices where mighty rivers of lava once flowed unimpeded during quiet eruptions that lasted at times for several years, and may one day erupt once more.
It's likely to happen again at some point, but we don't know when or exactly where.
The likelihood of future eruptions over the next 1,000 years aside, Craters of the Moon continues to stop visitors on their way to Yellowstone or the ATV dunes of St. Anthony's for a moment in a slightly otherworldly environment. The dream of going to the moon is likely to remain with us as long as the night sky is brightened by the reflected glory of the celestial orb. From Craters of the Moon, you may not see the Earth setting on the horizon, but even so, you're still likely to find yourself lost in a sea of tranquility.
We have beautiful night skies because we're so far away from city lights. It's not a very crowded park. You pretty much have it all to yourself. It's just an amazing place. You can walk right up to the edge of the Great Rift, which is the enormous volcanic fissure, which is the source of all of this lava. And you can peer down into these deep cracks in the ground. It's really just a fun place to explore.
Walking through the lava fields of southern Idaho, I'm Stephen Heumann for AYL.